Yesterday's conspiracy theories, tomorrow's headlines. Most are still asleep and I ain't talking about no bedtime. The truth is not a Google search, you need to get your head right. The Greek goddess of illusion was called Media I'm not a coincidence theorist, I look for thread lines. Smashing every deadline, no longer smashing red wine. Though I can hear the bells chime, it feels like the end times. That probably should have been smashed on red wine. But the carnal mind is foolish, obey and end up ghoulish. Don't get used by instinct, take control and learn to use it. Make a load of earnest music, earn a few quid, learn a few tricks. Sure, the truth is persecuted, this whole world is pure abusive. Know a bit about everything and everything about nothing. Figured out my noggin while you picture out shopping. You sit about watching while I dish it out, stop it. I don't mean to sound cocky, I'm not even proud of it. It's a second nature to me, just to me it's out honest. I don't even need to sound honest, never been about profit. Everything but out on it, you can bet your house on it. Doubt I'll be out for the count when the sounds, and I'm down for the beat, no beat down. I mean, how long's it been? Help me out. I've been the only one who's held me down. All in the mind, hell freeze now. Still sick with it, healthy how? Few bars down and the world freaked out. I don't reach out, I seek out to speak out. I'ma recount the reasons they beat out. I'm not the way, no way. I have seen the way. Speak, repeat, there's no way.
Hey, yo, how's it going, guys? Good evening. Hey, this is going to be a quick episode, 274 and 30 minutes of news that I got for you guys. So I hope you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy this. What we're going to have is a chill episode of videos. So please like, subscribe, and share. Tell everybody around that this is going down. And if you guys could, please donate to 509 Divine Pines Cash App, PayPal, or buy me a coffee. Let's go ahead and get this party started. So right off the bat, you see the explosive man himself from Europe, Piers Morgan. And Graham Hancock is on the show with Piers Morgan, and this is something Graham Hancock's been talking about for a while, and people just want to take it for BS. But hey, man, there's some truth in this world that we all should start realizing. That this, just let's listen in.
Go in and look at it.
Because it's why won't anybody be allowed into the Kaaba in Mecca? Because it's the most sacred place as far as the Ethiopians are concerned.
Is there anyone alive who's ever seen it?
No. Apart from the Guardian of the Ark. And the Guardian of the Ark, and I've met several of them, they all get ill. This is another thing that intrigued me. They get cataracts over their eyes.
Why?
They say the Ark caused it. I asked specifically through a translator how
and they do it till they die.
And why did the Ark cause this to you? And he just said the Ark is a thing of fire. And that was the moment when this story really got its hook into me. The absolute honesty with which that person spoke, and the feeling that he was in the presence of some awesome power intrigued me. I'm offering this as an alternative point of view. And I'm backing up supporting.
No, I get it. I get it.
But I might not be right. The Ethiopians might not be right.
Here's my point about you, which I didn't know what to make of you the first time until I interviewed you. And afterwards I said, seems completely reasonable to me. I mean, you might not, everything you're saying might be completely wrong, but you don't pretend otherwise. Yeah. What you're saying is there are a set of circumstances here, which if you interpret it like this, could lead us to this. And there's this fascinating place, heavily guarded, which has all this history. And it could be, logically, that is where the Ark of the Covenant lies.
So remember, Graham Hancock isn't the only one talking about biblical artifacts. It's well known that a lot of military around the world over the last 100, 200, 500 years have been seeking biblical artifacts. And World War II was a huge, huge push to recover biblical artifacts. So, these things are real. The artifacts and the actual equipment is real. Some of these technologies are still being kept secret and hidden and protected. I remember what was it, 2019, 2018, somewhere between 2018 2020. Down in Antarctica, there was a discovery of a what was it? It was a second arc. It was like the arc of the arc of Michael or something. It was technology that had some type of Archangel Michael reference, and um the news report that was just quickly brushed away was that America and Russia had discovered it, some scientists down there in Antarctica or something, and their teams were working on recovering and moving it. And I didn't, I guess there was no details on who took it, which side, and so it's just very interesting. Graham Hancock talks about the Ark of the Covenant. Um, you know, in World War II, like Hitler and Patton and all these other guys, they were all seeking stuff like these artifacts too, which is crazy. So if by any chance these artifacts do exist, they're powerful. Next, Erica Kirk went to an exceedingly Jewish Kabbalistic look.
Out discussing time travel, me discussing specifically Project Looking Glass, the CIA thing that actually happened. They allegedly stole Sumerian technology to peer into the future. Well, you have to imagine my surprise when I began looking into Erica's early years. She attends a school that they have virtually tried to wipe from public existence. And it's about to get even more fun because when these powerful families decided to start the Tesseract School in Arizona, they began with a small school in Paradise Valley first. It is that specific school that Erica attended that is virtually impossible to come by many documents regarding. They needed a space for the school, and they decided they were going to rent the building that was owned by a Jewish school. Forgive my terrible Hebrew, but the school, I kid you not, was called Gan Yaladim Looking Glass School. It's like, I just love this so much. So Tesseract was put into a looking glass. I just think it's fantastic. I just imagine they thought I was like dropping some clues. I was like, why are they all freaking out about this episode about Project Looking Glass? They probably thought I had already known that she went to this looking glass school, this little elite looking glass school down in Arizona. By the way, Tesseract, the school itself, is exceedingly Jewish in terms of the administration. It was run by Jewish executive directors. The teachers are all Jewish. Obviously, you know me. I'm nosy. I tracked down the yearbooks. I mean, I was working really hard while I was off. What is very exciting about finding her at this school is that it unlocked a lot of important things that needed to be known about Erica's life and her connections. I mean, wow. Speaking to people who went to that school, I'm looking at the yearbooks, and there are some interesting players involved in this school.
So, Project Looking Glass was a project that was ran by the government, that they were using technology like sorcery and some type of witchcraft or some type of device like a crystal or a crystal ball. I meant like a crystal ball like device, like some ancient device or something. I don't know exactly what device they were using, but they were using a device to look into the future, and this was reported a lot, and there's been a lot of stories about this, even stories about how Hillary Clinton was using this device, and she knew she would never win presidency no matter how many times she used the device. It was all coming up with the same results for her. And so to think that these type of programs don't exist is quite, it's you can be, you would be crazy if you didn't think that the government wasn't working on some of these things, and or put it together like, okay, there's really a lot of things these guys are trying to predict and trying to manipulate, and do. They're using all sorts of different means and methods. They're using every single means and method they can, actually, to manipulate America and send agents to kill, manipulate, and harm. Kind of sucks, but this Project Looking Glass was to foretell and like see targeted people, special people, gifted people, people who are mad importance, high importance. Um, yeah. And so it's very possible Erica Kirk was n- using these Jewish Kabbalistic practices and programs in order to infiltrate, spy, and use some sort of sorcery. Uh, that's what the Kabbalism is. It's sorcery. Next up, right here, Timothy Alberino has some serious rumors. Let's listen to this.
For the question, I thank you for the question. I think you're referring to, well, Three Eye Atlas. I'm not sure anybody knows what the heck that thing really was. I think it's still very possible that it was artificial. I don't know. It could have been commentary. Not sure, but I have heard rumors. I've heard rumors behind the scenes that something is coming. It's 100% artificial. It is massive, and it's supposed to arrive sometime around the year 2027. I didn't hear this, by the way, from Jeremy Corbell. I don't know who he's heard that from. I don't know if it's the same people. I heard this from other people. And I can tell you that there are insiders who are taking this very seriously. So from what I can tell, it's something that was detected either by Space Force or some element of the intelligence community or NASA. And it's people are alarmed. It's not the Three Eye Atlas thing. The people I've asked certain people about Three Eye Atlas, and it's kind of like, well, we don't know what that is, but what's coming behind it, that's the real problem. So I don't know what that means. I don't really have any more insight, but it does appear that there's at least rumors circulating behind the scenes that something artificial, large, is on its way. And it's allegedly supposed to arrive around the year 2027. And, I know that Mr. Corbell in that one interview said that, it was going to be a lie. We're going to be told there's an alien spacecraft and it's going to be a lie. I don't know anything about that. I don't know. Maybe he's right. Maybe he's, he could very well be right about it being a lie. I don't know. I'm just sort of passing on to you guys what I've been hearing behind the scenes.
I appreciate you speaking on that, Tim. There are people currently on the stage, in addition to you, who've also heard from people, whether it's a psyop or not, people high up who take this very seriously, with the exact same dates, planet size, roughly moon sized. And what we hear is that even the military or Space Force, they also, it's not like they were sent some Hallmark card and said, hey, don't worry, we come in peace. The inference, if the story is true, is that if you're coming with that size of a ship, it's probably not benevolent unless it comes with a giant white flag in advance. I'm guessing you heard a similar story.
Yeah, that's the general inference that it's suspected to be hostile. Now, is this just a big gigantic psyop? I don't know. I mean, I don't have enough information to know, exactly anything about it, really. So nobody really does. So, well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And there's a good chance nothing at all will happen, and that this is just a baseless rumor. So we'll see. I mean, we're only a year away.
Personally, I think it's very hard to like predict exactly a day and time and who and how many, if at all, you know, of a extraterrestrial contact or some type of interdimensional contact. Like it's all like we can say that it's possible and that it's happening in some places, probably. But to be like, oh yeah, Independence Day is gonna happen on this and that, it's hard to predict unless you like know
thank you for
it's
the question. I think
a
you're referring
staged event,
to,
which would be
well,
crazy
Three
as
Eye
shit.
Atlas.
Like a project blue beam. So
I'm not sure anybody knows what the
possible.
heck that.
Who knows? Next up though, Salt and Pepper OG. So this is from one of the girl bands from 90s or 1000s, Salt and Pepper. And so this is one of the artists right here. From you know, her time in the industry, what she's learned.
Hey y'all, so the cat's out the bag. I've been studying this type of thing for years, but you can't really talk about it because people will think that you're crazy. So now we know Satanists and Luciferians run the world. 2 Corinthians, it describes that Satan is the god of this world. They own the government, politics, Democrats and Republicans, the court system, the education system, the banks, the Federal Reserve, real estate, farms, Hollywood, what we watch, music, what we listen to, media, what we believe, sports, big pharma, everything. We pay their taxes, we work their jobs, we buy their houses. We don't own anything really, because even if we paid for a house outright, if we miss paying taxes one time, they can take the home. We've been pitted against each other like crazy forever. Black versus white, rich versus poor, men versus women, Democrats versus Republicans, Muslims against Christians. We fight over narratives that they've created to keep us divided while they're doing whatever they want. Hunting, killing, sexually assaulting, sacrificing, torturing, cannibalizing, yes, cannibalizing, and organ harvesting our children, grooming them and over sexualizing them, teaching them inappropriate things in school. They start wars and they tell us it's this country or that country, or it's this religion who's our enemy. And our kids go to war to defend lies. They fund both sides of the war and make billions of dollars while our family members are sacrificed. We have been bamboozled beyond our wildest dreams. Everything we've been fed is a lie. So what do we do? If you're like me, like, okay, we got the information, but what do? We can't impeach the president because that's up to Congress. The only power we have is our dollars, our prayers, and our voices. Some people will laugh at that, but when it comes to their God, they're on their job. They pray to their God, they worship him, they murder, assault children, make blood sacrifices. They are very dedicated to making sure their God is pleased with them. We can stop feeding the beast with our dollars. When things are exposed, we can stop giving them our money. I'm not telling you who you should buy from or where to spend your money, but I do encourage you to investigate the companies you patronize. Find out who they are, what their practices are, what their beliefs are. I know we love certain brands, but do we know their history? Who owns your bank?
Man, she's keeping it real. Definitely keeping it real. And she's an OG, so she knows from like inside the industry and what she's seen. And a lot of people were very, very thankful to have walked out. Not all celebrities are evil. Like a lot of them just walked out that door. They didn't want to even take no part. They saw one little sign and they knew what was about to go through that door. And like Cat Williams says, you know, in his little skits all the time, you know, like there's multiple doors. I think even Dave Chappelle says it, you know, like there's multiple doors in these mansions and in these parties. And like, or let's just say like in these elite circles, right? There's multiple opportunities. Some of them, you know, they're really furry. The other is into children. The other one's into like Satan, dark, you know, like let's just say, you know, doing their own weird shit, right? Then another one's doing who knows what. Like they're all doing different stuff at their little Masonic clubs, and you know, like all these other places, Bohemian Grove and Epstein's Island, like they're all doing their own thing. And those are all different doorways. Those are all different pathways they could take. They can either, uh, I would say, sell their soul this way or sell their soul that way, whatever, right? And so some of them just were like, nah, we're just gonna walk out this party, take our word. We're not gonna snitch on all y'all. Or else we'll die. Like, so how the celebrities think. They're like, a lot of them walked out the door, and they didn't do anything, and they just can't say anything or else they'll die because like once you actually go into those circles and take that money, which a lot of them do, it doesn't mean that you go through the extra doors in a sin. It just means that you're now part of the club. Once you're part of the club, you can do whatever you want, right? I guess that's what they say. You can. It's one big club. So in this big club, they're doing whatever the fuck they want, and they all got these all opportunities. Now it's just they can't betray, and so they just it. I guess now though, people are realizing they can't speak, and they some of these celebrities can open up. I mean, it was kind of crazy though. Was it Coolio podcast about all the crazy stuff, and then they killed him. Like, ooh, that because he was part of the money. He was part of them, like actual going through those doorways, and so yeah. It's really interesting, I guess.
Hey y'all, so
I
the
guess
cat's out the
we could say
bag. I've been studying
this girl is a good
this type
one.
of thing
So she
for
didn't,
years, but you
she
can't
went to the
really talk
Bible.
about. So now we know
I don't
Satanists
even
and
know which one it is.
Luciferians run the world. Second
Salt. It's
Corinthians,
salt
it
from salt
describes
and
that
pepper.
Satan is
Whatever. Next up, check this out. Fans on the internet believe the Zeus Network is an psyop created by the Zionists. Check it out. So we're gonna play this video. Oh, sorry about that.
Create a relationship, not just for our church, but for Black America, and to create a bridge between Black Americans and Israelis, between Israel and Black America, however you want to say it.
Plummer's father is Glenn Plummer. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, Glenn is actually the first bishop of Israel. He's been that since the year 2000 and lives in Jerusalem currently since the year 2020. What? I thought his family owned like a media production company or something. Fact, they did. But that's not what they're most known for. To the point that his mother is actually known as like the first lady of obviously the Christian church in Jerusalem.
Bishop Glenn Plummer and his wife Pauline have lived in Israel for the past 3 years. His wife was in Israel when Hamas attacked the Jewish state on October the 7th.
For the last, I would say 5 years, or 6 or more, we've been bringing young people here. The story of Israel must be told, and not from an antiquated place or not from a historical place, but a contemporary place, because we have a responsibility to the Jewish people, and we have an obligation to God to continue to stand in solidarity and full support of the Jewish state and the Jewish people. And I know that we are living in turbulent times, but we must understand that Israel is the center of it all.
Of the spiritual power in the United States. And that is equally as important as the political power. Because if the United States moved their embassy to Jerusalem, it's because you, the spiritual power of the United States of America, lobbied for the embassy to be moved to Jerusalem.
In the 115-year history of our church, there has not been a presiding bishop that has made an official visit to Israel. We are said to have 6.5 million members. We are the largest Black church in the world.
Israeli dignitaries and bishops from around the world came together at the King David Hotel to welcome the bishop.
From then to now, how much has Israel influenced or tried to get their hands in the Black community to influence negatively to us, you know?
I'll tag there below. Please watch the full video. It's very informative. But I wanted to talk about the connection between the Black church, Black people, and the state of Israel. Zeus Network. If you ever heard of Zeus Network, they're the network behind Baddies, Jocelyn's Cabaret, Black China's first TV show was on. There's a whole bunch of cooning on that network. But I want to talk about the founder and CEO of Zeus Network. This motherfucker right here, Lamel Plummer. Lamel Plummer stated that, he's put his money behind it to try to uplift the Black community and promote it. But there's something that connects all that together. Stay with me. Glenn Plummer. Glenn Plummer is Lamel Plummer's father. Not only is he his father, he is a bishop of the Church of God in Christ, but not a regular bishop in the Kojic scene. He's a special type of bishop. So you mean to tell me that a creator and a head of a network whose sole purpose of that network is to kill, steal, and destroy the Black community, his father is a bishop of Israel? Huh. No, there can't be a connection.
This is my opinion, for educational purposes only. Baddies, Zeus Network, this T app are all Israeli psyops. Anything to degrade people, to already ruin the image of Black people is being pushed. Look at the owners of these companies. Really, go. If you do any deep digging, you'll be like, oh my God, here we go again. Listen, these people have been playing media and propaganda wars since we were born. They'll promote the Black experience from Baddies, right? And then people will look at it like, wow, look at these dumb, drunk hooligans who just are violent all the time. And that will make them internalize them beating us with their police or brutalizing us in the streets because they think all of us are like that. That's an Israeli psyop, gang. Lock in.
1000%. These social media fights, or let's just say these things on social media that's being used to divide and target and harass and all sorts of different things, or like manipulate, like it's definitely a psyop. It's definitely created by people who are doing it purposely to just pick and pull society apart mentally, instead of like finding something that we can all unite on. They make sure through their wording and their like videos, oh, you better, or else you're racist, or else you're bigoted, or else blah, 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 or else you like that. That's like come on, they're really trying to like gaslight us, gaslight society in the wrong way, but also degrade and make people think that the sin is the love, and it's kind of a whole reversal. See, like that's what is on with the government though. Like these guys are on some diversion shit all the time. They've been like this for hundreds of years. And so now they're just using technology on some newer shit. So like, they still use their methods of diversion and all sorts of different ways to go ahead and make people get mad and angry and fight and just it's trash. I don't really stay on the internet or ever like, or how do I say it? I don't stay on the internet for toxicity. Whenever I'm on the internet, I'm like browsing or researching data or clips or things that I am working on, like projects. So like, man, all that gossip shit, it's so bad for people. Anyways, continuing forward, the Egyptian pyramids were built by advanced civilization thousands of years ago. So this is Timothy Alberino. So the guy who mentioned with the earlier clip about the possible 2027 outer space thing. So this Egyptian pyramid thing would also coincide.
So you have the fingerprints
with what the rest
of an
Graham
advanced
Hancock and
lost civilization.
all these other people are
and it's ubiquitous.
questioning, like,
Cyclopean
you know what,
architecture. Knowledge,
these are probably
the
older
knowledge
than
was
we
lost.
ever thought.
And the ancients knew it. The ancient Egyptians knew it. The ancient Mesopotamians knew it. They knew it. They knew that the civilizations that had pre-existed them, specifically the civilizations from before the Great Cataclysm, from before the flood, were superior to their own. They acknowledged them as such. And this is what I'm trying to illustrate, is all over the world, you have the fingerprints in the megaliths, you have the fingerprints of an advanced lost civilization, and it's ubiquitous. Cyclopean architecture is ubiquitous all over the earth. It's not that the Inca over here developed their, megalith building technique and the guys who built Baalbek developed a different one. No, it's the same. It's the same Cyclopean architecture. They're working with the same knowledge. But if you ask a Quechua person, and the Quechuan people are the native people who live in the Andes. If you ask a Quechua person, one who hasn't been modernized, one who still keeps the old ways and the old traditions, who built these walls?
Yeah.
Sacsayhuaman. Who built those walls? You know what they'll tell you? An ancient race of giants who existed in the world before a flood. That's what they'll tell you. And you'll find the same answer all around the world when you talk to the people and when you inform yourselves of the traditions of the people who live there. And that doesn't mean that all the traditions of these cultures are true. No, there's a lot of mythology. But mythology is designed to convey scientific information. But myths also encapsulate, more than anything else, astronomical information. And that, there's no question about that. I mean, you look at the ancient world and you see, for example, you look at ancient Egypt and you see all kinds of composite beings, like the Sphinx.
Right.
The Sphinx is a great example. And you have the Sphinx, which I believe originally, the Sphinx was the head of a woman in the body of a lion.
Yeah.
And I have to give credit to the late David Flynn for much of this. I read a book, the most consequential book I've ever read in my life. It's called Cydonia, The Secret Chronicles of Mars, by the late David Flynn. He passed away in 2012. But the Sphinx is actually that composite being, the head of the woman and the body of the lion. Today it's the head of a man, but it's not proportional. The head is small. It appears to have been recarved. I think originally it was the head of a woman, because I believe what the Sphinx is marking is the exact period in time when the cataclysm of the flood occurred. And that happened between the transition of, and we're talking about the zodiac here, because this is how the ancients calculated time. It was the great mill in the sky. It was the celestial timepiece.
Yeah.
Zodiac, ubiquitous in many different cultures around the world, same figures. And that transition from the age of, Virgo to the age of Leo, when the cataclysm, I'm talking about the cataclysm as described in the Bible, occurred. It ensued during that transitional period between Virgo and Leo. And what is the zodiacal sign for Virgo? The glyph is a woman. And what's the glyph for Leo? A lion. So you have the head of a woman and the body of a lion. It's a time marker.
Right.
So I believe that, and there's other astronomical phenomena that solidifies this idea that the Sphinx is a time marker. But it's marking the age in which it was built, but it's also marking the occurrence of the cataclysm.
So when would that have been? Is that at the historically, academically accepted time, or is that some earlier time? When do you peg
It would be it is a historical time that academics do acknowledge, are increasingly acknowledging that was a time of potential cataclysm on Earth. They call that the Younger Dryas period, the end of the last ice age. It's not a time frame that most Christians are accustomed to thinking about in regard to the flood, because it's somewhere around 10,500 BC.
And why?
Somewhere in the neighborhood.
And so you're saying Christians who take a young Earth creation view don't like that? Okay.
I'm not a young Earth creationist.
Yeah, I'm a Catholic. We're not too hardcore about any of those particular things,
I believe that the Great Flood of biblical fame happened sometime in the neighborhood. When I say in the neighborhood, give or take 1,000 years,
Yeah.
sometime in the neighborhood of 10,000 BC.
Yeah, it's funny because I do know some of our Protestant friends and viewers are very particular about
yes.
the Earth is exactly this old, and I'm open to the possibility, but also the tradition going back to the ancients, our ancients, not the super ancients who were earlier, doesn't insist upon a literal historical reading of the book of Genesis. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Certainly not.
Personally, I believe the Earth is extremely old, billions, maybe trillion of year old, trillions. I don't know, somewhere between there, a billion and trillion, right? A couple, maybe couple billion, couple trillion. And I do believe that our world has been populated and repeated, rinsed and washed and recycled and cataclysmed and all sorts of stuff so much we just don't know exactly who was here before. So it's been going on a long time. How long? Who knows? But it's interesting to think though that now with the technology that we got, we're starting to see 100% like, oh, for sure, it's not what we were being told by the Smithsonian. These things are far greater, older, have more intricacy and more power. In some places around the world, like in Bolivia, the pyramids are still active. And with that, guys, I hope you had a good night. This was a quick wrap up of some news that I was just getting through, getting my flow back on with the podcast, and that's a wrap. I'm tired. Please like, subscribe, share, tell everybody around. 509 Divine Pines podcast is headed to the moon. Donate if you can to 509 Divine Pines at Cash App, PayPal, or buy me a coffee. And sponsors are down below. Check out all my affiliates and people who I support, and go give them follow on some of the social medias they are at. And enjoy your night. See you guys tomorrow. Be blessed. Be high. Peace.